We should be live.
You ready?
Are
we live?
That's what I'm...
Are people talking to us yet? Can we talk? Are people ready? People ready for this?
Are people awake?
People awake on a Sunday morning, brisk Sunday morning in the fall, 2 weeks from Halloween. So what are you dressing up for Halloween?
Tommy Fraser. Ooh, I could be...
You might get eggs on it.
That's a good question. I don't usually dress up. Hey, Thomas on here. Can you hear the volume okay, Thomas? Can you guys hear the volume? Just making sure. That seems to be the tricky part with this whole Facebook Live thing.
Right.
Volume. Let me know if you can hear. Otherwise, we are recording. It is Tommy Fraser's Husker Nation, and this is the day after. This is the Buckeye hangover.
The day after the shellacking. But you know what, though? I'm not even upset about it because we all knew. Well, I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. And
for any fan to be this thoroughly upset and ticked off about what happened last night in Lincoln, Nebraska, should go out and do something to themselves.
Well, I don't know what that means.
They take it for how they want to take it. You know, it's people. And I listen to call-in shows and radio shows and a Husker overreaction and this and action, all this kind of stuff. What happened last year? We got shellaxed, 62-3?
Yeah, we got destroyed.
Who thought this game was going to be any better this year? I didn't. Did you? No.
Nope.
So people, stop getting your underwear in a bunch and just accept we weren't going to beat Ohio State. And Ohio State was going to embarrass us because they are that much better than we are. So there's no need to call in the radio shows and say, well, this or that or that and this, or post online, this, that, and this. No one in America, not even the Nebraska football team, thought they were going to beat Ohio State. No one in America, not even the bookies in Vegas, thought this was going to be a close game. So what happened last night was expected. Now the question is, what does Nebraska do from here on out? They can't say, well, we got Wisconsin, we have Penn State, they play Penn State, or we have Ohio State back-to-back anymore. Now you have winnable games coming up.
Yeah.
So the question is, what does Nebraska do from here on out? What do the players do from here on out? What does the coaches do from here on out? That's what to look forward to. Don't leave this game in the back burner.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. And the results that happened, I think we said on the show last week, it's not going to be close. And it showed.
No, I think you're right. I think the only thing, yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like, it was just, you're right. There should be no surprise.
No.
I mean, when JT Barrett looked like he just was at ease back there doing what he wanted to do. And I seen several times, what's very discouraging is I seen the linebackers. I seen the three on the line trying to put some pressure on, but there was no one. They had that. JT Barrett was so protected. He had so much protection there. But then you have linebackers sitting in the middle of the field, and they're literally just standing there. You know, wide receivers are going out and everything. But, I mean, there's just four guys right in the middle, and they're just standing there. There's no action. There's nothing happening. Like, I'm not a pro by any means. I don't play. I don't coach. But that didn't look right. I've seen that over and over and over.
You don't need to be a pro to understand what's going on. The bottom line is you saw a team with great players, and you saw a team with players who were afraid, who had no energy, who had no passion, who went out and just showed up but had no enthusiasm. The team, when they got off the bus, and I heard a lot of people, because I got friends who tailgate over in a lot where the team comes in the horseshoe area, and say when the team got off the bus, there was no energy. It was like, okay, well, we're here, we showed up. Let's see what happens. Even in warm-ups, there was no energy. Even the tunnel walk, There is no energy.
They showed the tunnel walk on TV, which they never do. So I was excited to see the tunnel walk, but I will say it looked pathetic.
There was no energy.
Yeah, there was zero energy walking
energy.
out.
Okay.
Including the fans. It didn't look like a lot of energy from the fans, which I think most everybody is just.
Even the stadium wasn't full.
Oh.
And I'm not even going to get on the students because I think that's a bunch of hogwash myself to where they get tickets to the discounted rate and all that kind of stuff, and they can't even show up to a game.
But the rest of the fans.
And people say, well, it's fall break. I don't give a rat's patootie if it's fall break. There's enough students at the University of Nebraska where you should be able to fill up your student section. But then you look at the club level area, and there's empty seats there. Then you look at the general admission area, there's empty seats there. It just floors me how Nebraska fans have become, and I'm gonna say this, and I know I'm gonna get beat up, fair weather fans. They have, and I even have buddies who went to university come to me and say, "Well, why would I want to watch Nebraska lose?" It's not about watching Nebraska lose; it's about supporting the program. So, because what they're telling me is that, I'm only going to support them when they're winning.
All right, so if I could rebuttal.
You can rebuttal. Hey, that's what we do.
Because I agree with you on one hand. I do think we're getting fair weather, and I think part of it is, for like me personally, I'm not as engaged as I used to be. But part of it is because the expectations of the whole system has become so bad or so low that I just can't find the energy to get super, super excited about a game. And then if I went to a game like Ohio State last night where it's cold, it's kind of rainy,
right. Mm-hmm.
And you see the product on the field is that bad, I don't know if I would have stuck it out either. It'd been like, well, if they're not going to play, why should I sit and stand even?
But for me, it's not whether you stick it out or not. I understand you go to the game, but these are people who don't show up. Serious.
Yeah.
You know, who ever thought that Syracuse would beat Clemson Friday night?
I didn't, but
no one
it was
did.
a good game.
But guess what? Their student section, their fans were there. And look what happened. Who would have thought Cal would have beat Washington State the other night?
Yeah.
They didn't. But their fans showed up and stuck it out.
There's hope there, though. And I don't think Husker fans
there's hope. See, there's hope.
See that hope.
There's
they can't
hope.
Find that.
People are blinding themselves to what's going on in college football, the state of college football. They are. You know, unless you have Nick Saban recruiting the way he recruits and getting things out, you're not going to find another dynasty like that. You're not going to find another Nebraska dynasty. You know, look at Oklahoma, Texas yesterday. Okay? Oklahoma went 17-0. They had to score late to win that game.
Yep.
Is Texas any better shape than Nebraska right now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Well, here's what I do know. They fired their coach 2 years ago. And last time I checked, Texas is still 3-3 or whatever their record is. They're not.
Yeah.
But their fans still show up and support the team no matter what. And if Nebraska fans continue to say, well, we're the greatest fans in America, we're the Nebraska fans, then start acting like it. And here's what bugged me last night. You know, I host a tailgate down there, and I had events to do. So I went to the game for the first half, and I walked back because I had people at tailgate say, hey, when your people here want to see you, want to meet you. So I went back to watch the tailgate, watch the game in the second half. And as I was walking out of the game, there was these two guys, can't remember their names. I was like, hey, Tommy, can we come to your tailgate? I say, sure. And so they came. But on the way there, their exact words were, I bleed Husker red, but I'm losing faith. And I think that's the sentiments of all Husker fans. But my response to him, why are you losing faith? You can't say I bleed Husker red, but I'm losing faith. If you bleed Husker red, you're going to be their supporter through the storms, through the good times, through the bad times. No matter what happens, you still support them. But when you say you can't do it anymore because you're losing faith, then you don't bleed Husker red to me. And maybe you do, but to say stuff like that, that means you don't bleed Husker red. And my response to him was, people, tonight what happened tonight is no shocker. It shouldn't have surprised you. I said, did you think Nebraska's going to win Wisconsin? Well, I thought they had a chance. No. Did you think they was going to win in the beginning of the season? No. Did you think it was going to beat Ohio State? No. So why are you disappointed now?
It's true. Yeah, I agree with part of it. I agree. You're absolutely right about if you're going to bleed red, you're going to bleed red.
Bleed red. Support those players.
It is. I mean, this is it, and you're going to have the ups and downs, and it's not always going to be ups. I totally agree with that.
Do I enjoy what's happening down there right now? No.
Let me read.
But I'm still going to root for the University of Nebraska.
Robert says he watched the game every time, no matter what. Carl says great comments. Dana says it's not fair weather; it's indifference. It's
fair weather. You just turn indifferent word right. Indifferent. It's fair weather.
Andrew says I agree. I have no energy. Joel says win the game and people will come. Simple. Well, that's true. Fortunately, we're not going to win them all. Lori says, I always love my Huskers. Leslie says, Riley doesn't show any hope. It starts with him. Adrian says, amen, Tommy.
Thank you, Adrian. At least somebody looking through the same glass I'm looking through.
Justin says, preach on, Tommy.
Thank you, Justin. I just think we're in a culture right now to where fans think Nebraska has to win every game. And last night, was it embarrassing? Yes. Was it unexpected? No. You listen to people across America. I'm not just talking about Nebraska fans. You talk to people across America. They were wondering how many points was Nebraska going to lose by. So no one gave them a chance. I didn't give Nebraska a chance. I even said it's not going to be a good game for Nebraska. It's going to be ugly. So right there, knowing what you're going into, I was just happy to see them score points. I didn't think they were going to score any points.
You know what was interesting? Now that you say just fair weather fans, everything, it just dawned on me. Somebody who just said that. Somebody just said Donnie. Donnie just said he's live in Denton, Texas, listening, and he's still flying his Husker flag. I just realized that I put my Husker flag out yesterday. I put the flag out every week for the game. I was the only person on the. We usually have 5 or 6 people on the block that fly their flag. Yesterday, game time. Now, it was a little windier, it was a little cold, so maybe you not get everybody putting their flags out because of the weather, but I was the only person who flew the flag yesterday. Which
means you support them. You don't like what's going on, but you still support them. You have Husker pride.
Yeah, that's still my team.
It's still your team.
I don't like what's going on.
No, I
hate what's going on.
How many of the Chicago Cubs fans stopped liking the Chicago Cubs over the 83 years they didn't win a World Series? They still showed up and still sold out their games, and they used to have records where they were like 62 and 100, where they didn't even have a chance to make the World Series playoffs.
All right, so Gabe, which is cheating and texting me instead of being on Facebook, trying to get around the system. So he says, in order to make your voice heard, you need to show you don't approve of what you're seeing on the field, and the best way to do that is not showing up or leaving.
No, I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. Because at the end of the day, as far as I know, Nebraska fans support Nebraska football, support the program. Nebraska has a streak of sellouts. And that's been going back to when Nebraska had bad years, had good years. Not showing up down makes you a fair weather fan, in my opinion. It really does. And people can say what they want to say, that I'm wrong or right. If you're a true Nebraska fan, win or lose, you're going to show up to the game. Why? Because most people, from what I understand, when I came to university here, they treat it as a family event, a family atmosphere. There were young kids who went to the game last night. It was their first time that I met at the meet green. It was the first time they was up to a game. They were excited. And I say, do you think the team will win? No, but I'm just happy to be here because it's Nebraska football. I've never been here. There's families come together. And that's where Nebraska has to get back to where take Nebraska football out of the state of Nebraska, what Nebraska be? Sports-wise.
Nothing.
So you have one thing, and you have one thing in the state that draws the whole state together.
Yeah.
Support that.
I would agree.
Win or lose, support that.
I still watched it. I mean, last week I didn't watch Wisconsin because it was the choice to spend time with family or the game. But this week I had the family watch the game with me. Like, we still watched the game. We sat down. Well, I point to my couch. We sat down and we watched the game, and we watched the entire game, and we still, it was disappointing, but it wasn't shocking necessarily. No. There's going to be this. We talked about last week. The culture has been disrupted, and what has happened in this program is pretty devastating. It's changed the landscape of even high school football. Everything's changed, and we're not recruiting within, and there's, the culture's different, but like it starts with the fans believing in the system. It starts, when the team sees that belief system and it's going to encourage them, right? Like it's going to encourage and it's going to grow. And
you hit the button there about recruiting. Okay. And we're out here trying to recruit the best players in America, near and far. Correct? And we talk about the culture of Nebraska fans, and no matter what, Nebraska fans going to be there. And when you have a 4-star, 5-star, 3-star, 2-star local guy come to campus, come to a game, and they see fans booing, not showing up.
Oh, yeah.
That affects. So fans have more effect on the culture of a program than they think they do.
Yeah.
Because why would a kid want to come to where you say you have the greatest fans, but they're booing a player, or they're cussing, or they're doing this, or they're not, or they're leaving the game early? And which I understood last night, leaving the game early, simply because one, Nebraska they didn't stop Ohio State at all last night. On eight consecutive series they scored. But two, it got windy and it got cold.
Yeah.
So last night for me, I don't mind fans leaving, but at least show up. Get rowdy. Start the game early. Be present early. But the having as many empty seats.
Yeah.
And I heard people say, "Well, why would I want to go to that game? They're gonna get blown out anyway." Because it's still Nebraska. What would you do if Nebraska say, "Oh no, we're gonna take you if you don't show up to every game. You bought the tickets. You don't show up to every game. You don't feel we're not gonna give them to you again." Because there are schools, universities doing that. They want you in the seats. Why? Support the program. And I know it's tough. Trust me. It's tough for me to watch what's going on, people. Don't think that it's not tough. It's tough for me to watch what's going on. But I still support the program. And I'm going to support it if Mike Riley's there or not. I'm going to support it if John Bignell, I'm just throwing out names, is there or not.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this program going to be here longer than any other coach who comes here, or if Mike Riley finds a way to turn around and wins them all out to save his job. I don't know, but the program's going to be here. But the Nebraska fans got to stop worrying about who's the coach and support team.
Well, if we're not careful, we might get what we wish for, and we're not going to like that.
You're not going to like it.
We're not going to like it if this, as you said, if this program doesn't live to the level it does today, and all of a sudden, we get a second-rate team, or if we lose Husker football, what do we got in this state really?
Volleyball, well, there's a lot of people who like volleyball.
There is, but
there's not 90,000 people who are going to go to a game and watch volleyball.
No, we don't have that. That's our pride right there.
Yes, and like I say, Nebraska football is the one sport to where it brings people from Omaha who are Creighton supporters in basketball, to where it brings people from Scottsbluff to Falls City to Chadron to Norfolk. They bring them all in on a weekend, and it's something that everyone can put hang their hats on and say, we support Nebraska football.
So Mike Davis says, I think this is a valid question, but I think there's ways to think about it. Mike Davis says, can we support the team and still have high expectations? And I think the answer is yes, and you show that as being a fan with high expectations, and you set the standard. Leaving early or not supporting the team is really not setting the right standard. Right. I think of smaller schools, or look at Iowa. I always think of Iowa State. I don't know why. Because they were that team forever in the Big 12.
Right.
Where the fans wouldn't come, the away game was still a home game for us. And the standards set by the fans were so poor that the team didn't have to play high. They had nothing to play for.
Right.
So the fans kind of set that standard. So I agree with Mike Davis. We should support the team and set high expectations, but I don't know if being fair weather fans and walking away or not showing up to the game. And the cancer vibe that we have going through the state right now is not going to do that.
Setting high expectations, you do that in life daily. We all have our high expectations for ourselves. If you have kids, you have high expectations for your kids. Because you don't hit your goals, or your kids don't turn out the way you want them to turn out, are you going to stop loving them? Are you going to stop supporting them? Some parents do. A lot of parents don't. Why? Because they're still their kids. They're still you. Because Nebraska's not meeting the goals or hitting the expectations, you just say, I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to love them. I'm not going to love them anymore. No. Right now is the time that the program, the university, the state needs to come together and show and say, you know what? We don't like what's going on out there on the field, but we're still going to support you. Because what's going to happen when Nebraska comes back? Now you're going to hear all these friends, and I have friends who, why would I go down there? Spend my time down there. But then what if Nebraska turns this thing around and start winning every game, and then next year and they win, and then next year they're back in the playoffs and they win. Oh, Nebraska's great. Why? So you support them when they're good, but you're not going to support them when the program is down. And this is not a Mike Riley deal. Dan, you could be the head coach right now. It's a culture at the university right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So to me, it doesn't matter which coach they brought in here. It's a culture. College football is getting tougher to recruit at Nebraska. But when you have fans and they're not supporting the program 100%, especially here in the state of Nebraska, to where you don't have the talent base that the Texas or the Californians or the Ohio or the Pennsylvanians or the Florida or the Georgia, the Alabama universities have.
So now that we spent a lot of time on that, Colin just asked, so where do we go from here? Support the team 100%, watch the games until the end. That's great stuff. What's next?
Here's where you go from here. You continue supporting this group of kids because at the end of the day, you can't change the players this year. You continue supporting this staff. And trust me, it's tough to support what's going on down there. But the culture has to start now from the fans saying, you know what? I don't like what's going on, but this is still my Huskers. I don't like some of the players we have on the field, but guess what? They're still Huskers. Support the program, don't support individuals. Support the program. And the program, like I said, the program is going to be here.
Well, I think
where do we go from here? That decision is going to be made by the powers that be.
Well, I think you said something great, that I could be the coach there right now, and it probably have the same outcome.
You're going to have the same outcome.
I mean, there is let's face it, there is talent on the field. There is talent on the sideline coaching. There is a bigger problem that is obviously taking place here.
Yes.
Like, you go get Bob and pay that guy a ridiculous amount of money, not because his name is hard to pronounce, right? It's the guy has talent. The guy has proven talent and experience. Exactly. The fact that it's not shown on the field tells me, like, I'm not in football, but I am in leadership, I am in management, and when I see this, there's other problems that are taking place. There's issues that we probably don't see. And part of it is definitely culture, but there's other things going on that is definitely impacting the product on the field.
Exactly. And this started 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It started 15 years ago. Yeah. So the problem that we have today started 15 years ago. Went from Frank Solich to Bill Callahan to Bo Pelini to now Mike Riley. And then it went from Steve Peterson to Coach Osborne to Sean Eichhorst. There have been so many changes in a program in the last 15 years that they haven't been in the previous 30 years.
Well,
you can't be successful when you have as many changes that you have.
Well, you said it really well last week, and the fact is, and I don't remember how you said it exactly, but the fact is, Nebraska has always had an identity. And we have built a culture, a system, a state around that identity. And when you start tearing that down and throwing different coaches and athletic directors, and it destroyed the foundation that this program is built on. And we now don't even develop internally. I seen Rashad Jackson said that 7 of the 11 starters on the offensive side of the ball in 1997 championship team were all from within the state. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't even get those players now because no one has a freaking clue how to develop for this system anymore. But
see, and he says that, but times are different. We also, back then, you had 115 scholarships.
It is true.
But I'm just telling you had 115 scholarships to where now it's 85. So just imagine if you had 30 scholarships, those kids in the state of Nebraska who are going to Iowa, who are going to Kansas, who are going to other schools, Nebraska, they'd probably be here because Nebraska had 30 additional scholarships they could offer, and you build those guys knowing that, you know what, maybe you're not going to be a starter right away, but you or maybe even sophomore, you have an opportunity to play in this position. The culture of college football has changed.
Yeah.
To where 85 versus 115 when I was playing, that's a lot of scholarships.
But what about, and I hate getting caught up in the recruiting because there's all types of, but I also heard I heard a number that 22 of the current scholarship players on their current roster were not offered by any other Big Ten school. Isn't that kind of a question mark?
My point exactly.
Like, what? Yeah. Okay.
You just made my point. You know, and like I said, this started 15 years ago. The demise of this program went to when you started signing kids. We get excited by signing kids who didn't have an offer. The one kid, I'm not going to say his name, he was from the state of Colorado. He was a Colorado Player of the Year and did not have an offer from Colorado or Colorado State, the two biggest schools in Colorado. His only offer from Colorado was from northern Colorado. Nebraska offered him. He came here, and we got excited about that. Oh, we got a Colorado best player. Well, obviously not the best player for Colorado State didn't even offer him a scholarship.
Yeah.
People, we got to wake up. Recruiting is tough. Getting players is tough. Not every kid in Nebraska is going to get a scholarship offer. Now, I'll be the first one to say, you got to get the best players in your state. You have to. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, 5, you got to get the best players in your state. But when you have an 85 limit scholarship, and I'm talking about 85 limit on the team, not that year, on the team.
All right.
There's a formula.
Lance corrected me. Out of the 22 current starters on this team, 11 were not offered scholarships by any Power 5 program. So, correction, but same premise.
Yeah, same premise. Like I said,
thanks, Lance.
At the end of the day, with 85 scholarships in the Big Ten, you have to try to go out and get the best players. You can't continue offering kids who don't have Division I scholarship offers. And I'm not even saying scholarship offers. It could be Kansas State, Iowa State. Those are Division I programs in the Power 5 conference.
So
Missouri. So at the end of the day, it falls back to getting the right kids here. Okay. Coaching them up, building a culture, and understanding what Nebraska was built off of. And not every Nebraska kid understand that. And I always say we got to recruit more Nebraska kids. Really, people? This has nothing to do against Nebraska. But in the last 15 years, the kids are coming to, they haven't seen much success. They don't. Their parents might have told them, grandparents might have told them, might have seen clips, but they haven't seen the success that the kids in the 70s and 80s and 90s were brought up. It's 2017. When was the last time Nebraska won a conference championship? When was the last time Nebraska won a national championship? So when you talk about the Nebraska culture, what the kids today see in Nebraska culture is not a winning program, not a successful program. So Nebraska kids don't understand what Nebraska built off on unless they have grandparents who told them, who die hards and still hang their flags up. But Omaha kids don't understand it. Omaha kids, they don't, Nebraska culture, what is Nebraska culture? We can talk about what is Nebraska culture. Well, Nebraska don't recruit Omaha. Really? They don't, because they don't.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting last night. They talked about the commentators that were calling it talked about the great walk-on program that this program's known for. And I thought, man, there's a disconnect because there used to be a great walk-on program. Yes. And I know there is a walk-on program, but it's nothing like that. They call
preferred walk-ons now to where they take maybe 15 to 20 a year.
Yeah, see. It's a whole different thing
It's
now.
a whole different vibe. And well, once again, it's the culture. It started 15 years ago. What's happening now, you can't blame this all on the leadership right now. Now it's time for this leadership to correct it. And you don't need someone with Nebraska ties to lead the program. You don't need that person. What you need is a person who understands how to run an organization. Because that's what it is. Nebraska is a business. It's a multi-million-dollar business.
Massive business. Well,
how many people like Bill Burns? He wasn't a Nebraska guy. He came from Oregon.
Yeah.
But look what he did to the university. And people, he's all about the dollar bill. Well, of course, that's his job. Got to raise money. But look what the program was. Look how many national championships the program won when Bill Burns was the AD.
Yeah.
Conference championships, whatever. But he wasn't a Nebraska guy. Correct? So you need a guy who can come in here and run a business like a business should be run.
Yeah.
You put the leaders in place and hold them accountable. It shouldn't be your best friend. So Nebraska don't need Nebraska people to run the organization. They need leaders, proven leaders.
Yeah. 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 Well, I totally agree. It can be. Like, I know everybody wants Frost and everybody wants. At the end of the day, somebody has to come in and establish a vision.
Right.
And they got to get the players, the coaches, the fans, everybody's got to buy off of
the
that
administration.
Vision. I am committed and I have clarity to that vision. Because once you have commitment and you have that clarity, then you got something to work from and people will be passionate about. Right now, there's no commitment. There's no clarity. I don't think Riley has clarity. And I think that's where it goes back to there's other problems.
There's other problems.
There's problems. There is no clarity. Because when those kids go on the field, if they were committed and they had clarity, I think you would see a very different program. Even if they weren't winning, I think you would see the heart on that field. But they are not committed to whatever that vision is.
Especially the ones, hey, you know what? If you don't do your job, we're going to put the next guy in there. That's how you know if a player's committed or not.
Andrew says, F it. No, he didn't really say F it, but I'm adding that part. F it. We need old Herbie Husker back. It's like, that's where we're going with this.
Now we're talking about the mascot.
We need some, who said that? Eric says we desperately need some of that meanness and swagger back. There hasn't been swagger in this program for a long time.
15 years.
Yeah, long time.
So like I said, this started way back 15 years ago, maybe long, but this had nothing to do with the coaches, what Mike Riley is doing right now.
Yeah, you guys, and somebody, there was a couple of people, I don't remember who it was, I'm sorry, mentioned like, hey, Urban Meyer went and had success right away, Franklin had success right away. We talked about this over and over. They walked into a program and they didn't try to they didn't rebuild the culture from scratch. They leveraged the talent that was there. They leveraged
exactly. And they also at universities where there's a high population of talent.
Yeah. You guys remember, Bill Callahan came in here and told Joe Daly he was going to, a proven option quarterback, that he was going to run the West Coast offense.
Right.
I mean, there's no good to come from that.
Right. So, I mean, everyone's talking about Bob Stoops did at Oklahoma. Well, Bob Stoops, he walked in when he had great talent on the team. Correct?
Yeah.
Urban Meyer walked in. They still had great talent at Ohio State.
Urban Meyer, a year before Urban Meyer, that was still a high caliber team.
Yes.
They were still playing for conference titles.
Yes. Franklin walked into Penn State. Yes, they were on probation, lose scholarship, but the core of the group was still very good players.
Yeah. And Wisconsin's a great example.
Wisconsin.
People forget they just changed coaches.
They just changed coaches 3 years ago, and the coach that they changed for just got let go, just left the job at Oregon State. But the culture hadn't changed. Barry Alvarez has been there for how many years, and as a head coach at AD, and the culture hasn't changed because they know what they are. They don't go out here and recruit stars. They go out and recruit guys that fit their system. And I think what's happening in Nebraska, they get caught up recruiting stars.
Yeah.
Get away from that damn recruiting stars mess.
Well, Eric says
recruit the guys that fit your system, whether they're a 2-star, 1-star, walk on, whatever. Stop worrying about a 5-star kid who I don't know, I'm not sure. And you waste all your time on that kid and you lose him, but then you got a 3-star kid who really want to be at your school, or you have a 4-star kid who you want to be there, who want to be at your school. All they're doing is waiting on an offer, but you're going out here chasing stars.
When's the last time this state got excited by an offensive lineman?
Do they recruit offensive linemen?
Well, I don't know. Because that's what Eric says. What did Eric say? Well, he said, where the hell is the pipeline? Where's the offensive lineman?
But then we said this weeks ago. You build from inside out, not outside in. If you have a horrible offensive line, your offensive line is not great, you go out and you solidify your offensive defensive line. And last night, what looked pathetic?
It was bad.
And Ohio State played some sophomores and freshmen on defensive line. It's not like Ohio State is an old football team. They play a lot of young kids, and look at the difference.
JT Barrett, they showed him in the middle of the third quarter. They had the camera on him. They were talking about how great he performed, and which didn't look really hard last night to perform great. Yeah. But his shirt was so crisp and white still.
He never got hit. The only time he got tackled was when he ran the ball, and that was like 1 or 2 times.
Zero pressure on that guy. Like
That has nothing to do with anything but the talent is not up to the par of Ohio State. And I'm not saying those players aren't talented. Because you got a Division I scholarship, you have to have some talent.
Yeah.
You have to have some talent. But the question is, do they have the right talent and do they have enough talent? Is there competition going on down there? That's what's missing.
Doesn't appear to be.
That's what's missing out of everything. Is there competition within the team to where, hey, if I don't do my job, I don't perform at the highest level week in and week out, my backup can come in and there's not a drop off. That's the question. That's somebody asked, where do we go next? That's where you go next. Start having competition within positions. Stop saying, well, this guy's our starter from the start. If he's not getting the job done, you're 3-4 right now. Okay? You have a bye week.
Yeah.
Every job should be on the line. I don't care who you are.
I would love to see that happen. I don't think it will, but I would love to have that mentality down there. They should at this point. They should
right now, every job should be up for battle. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many years you started. Every job is up for grabs right now. You're 3-4. 2-2 in the Big Ten. There's something going on right now to where the guys that they're playing aren't getting the job done consistently, and that's what we need. That's what we need. A football team, players going out there and playing consistently well, not play well versus Illinois, play well versus Rutgers, well, somewhat Rutgers, but then you face Wisconsin, you play well for a little bit, and then you lose everything.
Yeah.
Or you play well, you play bad in the first half versus Oregon, then you come back and you fight. You're not going to win very many football games, win championships playing inconsistent football week in and week out. So how do you change that? Get the best guys on the field, competition. And if the best guys, he's not playing because he doesn't know the system as well. Well, damn it. Run stuff that he knows and get the best athletes on the field. Be simple. Keep it stupid simple. But get the best athletes on the field because I've seen it many, and I've been around the game a long time. And I've seen guys who perform well in practice when the lights came on, they nutted up. But I've seen guys who weren't very good practice players, but put them on the field when the lights shine, they make plays. We're to the point now, Nebraska to the point now, whoever it is, if he don't know much, give him a package. Get him out on the field. Let him make plays. And I'll say this right now, and he's a great friend of mine, and Terrell Farley. Terrell Farley probably didn't know the whole system at Nebraska. But guess what? They put him in situations to get him on the field to where he can go out and play football. And what kind of player did Terrell Farley
Holy crap, yeah.
And he'll tell you this. Hey, I didn't know everything I was doing, but hey, just put me on the field. I'll make plays for you.
He made plays, man.
There were times you had the Mike mentor was, hey, Terrell, no, you over here, right here. You sit up right here. And guess what? Now you do this. And guess what? He did his job, and he played it well. So right now, this week, off week, bye week, it should be competition for every position on the field.
43 was a beast. Yeah. I couldn't agree. If we go to Purdue and we have the exact same lineup and we're seeing the same players, it will be right away. There will be a sigh. I know in the back of my mind that just like I want to see that competition. I want to see some of these players on the bench. Nick Gates has players every week walk right by him every week, and
the same stuff
drives me nuts. How the hell that guy starts every week? it blows me away. Now, either the talent or the depth is so, and that's just an example. There's other. I'm not picking on him, but every week I see the same thing from that guy.
I'm a firm believer. If you have a guy who's been starting for 3 years, making the same mistakes week in and week out, put a guy in there who's a freshman, put a guy who hasn't started, give him a chance. What's going to hurt? You're going to get the same mistakes, but at least you got a guy who's out there that's going to get more effort. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a young guy making those mistakes than a junior or senior making the same mistakes week in and week out.
Something's got to change.
Competition.
And that's a great place to start because they're clearly not doing the competition. They're not having the same level as we would expect them to have in the past, or we've seen in the past, and we would like them to see. Patrick O'Brien coming in only at the last 5 minutes after the game is completely.
He should have been in the game in middle third quarter.
Absolutely. I mean,
Nebraska had no chance to win that game, so that'd be the perfect example, perfect opportunity. Hey, put him out there and see what he can do. Give him some reps. 5 minutes in the game, okay, Ohio State just
the only position we see consistent rotation on
running backs
is running backs, and that really comes down to who's hurt and who do we like?
Running backs.
I mean, that's the only position. Yeah,
I've heard people say, "Well, how come they're not starting Wilbon anymore?" Well, when Wilbon was started, how come they're not playing Zigbo? We don't, and this come from fans.
Yeah.
But I don't care who's the running back out there. If you don't have consistent play at the offensive line, it's not going to work. You can have Amon Green running behind his line, and he's going to look average.
Was it the end of the first quarter? Maybe middle? Maybe it was even later. End of the first quarter, I think. Ohio State was average 9.2 yards per play.
And Nebraska went point
0.8, I think it was. Like, holy crap.
Yes.
That's not a running back thing. That's,
that's a culture thing. That's a team offense, a team right now that trying to find their identity.
But I also thought it was interesting. They also mentioned, and this doesn't, and I appreciate and I like Zigbo. I like what I see most of the time. He's hitting me. But I also thought it was interesting that he was committed to go to Iowa State, and we stole him from Iowa State. When's the last time Nebraska had to steal a starting running back from Iowa State? What the?
We never had to.
Like, holy cow, we're having to get we're having to steal running backs from Iowa State now?
So it's a culture deal. It's all culture. But we keep saying that competition will help all those players to where this week every job should be on the line. I don't care who you are. And whoever grades out the best person going to play. And if that means you walk out there in 2 weeks and you have 10 new starters, it's going to be the 10 guys who went out there and bust their butt and proved they want to be on that field.
So let me run through. For the sake of time, we're running late. Well, not really running late, but let's run through some questions if I grab them or comments. John Rotten says, Lamar Jackson seems to be lost on the field every game now. Kevin says, do you feel that the coaching staff is just starting to give up?
Let's just say I heard a comment last night that we're rebuilding. This is a rebuilding year. I heard a comment last night. Really? I thought the first 2 years were rebuilding. Yeah. You got your system in place. But that's where it's gotten to. I think Nebraska, they are looking at this is our rebuilding year. Rebuild? Wow. You said the first 2 years. How many more years are you going to need to rebuild? You should start seeing improvement now. This is your third year. Now you got your quarterback in, you got your system in, you got the guy you wanted at quarterback. You should see some improvement.
Next year's not going to be any easier.
It's going to be a lot tougher than what it is this year.
Yep. Mandy said, thoughts on the Purdue game?
I think Nebraska, I think it's going to be a tough game. Didn't the last time Nebraska went to Purdue, they lost there? I think they played Riker 5.
You're right. Yeah, it was Riker 5.
And Purdue is actually playing a lot better this year. Look how tough they played at Wisconsin yesterday. 17-9 game, I think it was. So it's not going to be a cupcake, but Nebraska, if you tell me right now that Purdue is better than Nebraska, I'll call you a lie in your face.
Yeah.
Nebraska has a chance of winning every game this year, the rest of the year, but one. And the only reason I say the Penn State game because it's on the road.
Yeah.
In a hostile environment, big crowd. But every other game on their schedule, it's not like those teams are better than Wisconsin. It's not like they're better than Ohio State. Okay? So that's why I'm not down this, and that's why I'm not down on the season. Because how many people, and I asked the same guy that walked out to the tailgate with me who was complaining about he's losing faith, and I asked him, I say, your predictions on the season, how many games did you think Nebraska was going to win and lose? He said, well, I thought he was going to lose 4 games. I say, what 4 games do you think they're going to lose? Well, I thought they were going to lose Wisconsin. I thought they were going to lose Ohio State. I thought they were going to lose Penn State and maybe Iowa. And I say, what about Oregon? Well, that was a toss-up for me. I said, okay. Say now, take out the Northern Illinois game.
Yeah.
In Nebraska, so Nebraska's sitting at 4-3 instead of 3-4. Would your feelings be hurt right now knowing that every other game is winnable but Penn State? He's like, no, I'd be happy with that. I said, you just made my point. Nebraska's the only game that, in my opinion, I even said here on the show, go back and listen to the podcast. I thought Nebraska was going to be, 8-4, 7-5. Yeah. We said it here. I said, no, I thought, I thought they was going to beat Oregon. But I also said, hey, it's a toss-up. Now, I didn't think they was going to lose Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
So, Nebraska has a chance of salvaging the season if they win out.
Yeah. I think it just goes back to how they lose those games. Northern Illinois was painful, but I think some of the other ones is just how we lose.
It's how you lose. It's inconsistency.
Yeah. We're not putting the same product on the field week over week. Every week. Do you think Patrick O'Brien is better than Tanner Lee?
Don't know. He hadn't played. How do we know that?
Kristen asked that. Coach Brett says, Coach Riley's all smiles after the last 2 games on the field. I don't know what that means.
These coaches knew they weren't going to win. These coaches had a good idea that they weren't going to win the last 2 games. Yeah, they know what they have and they see.
They knew that.
They knew that. When you were building a program, you know the games that you should win. You know the games like, hey, we just got to try to keep it close. Hey, Ohio State has scored 50-some points in the last 3 games after losing Oklahoma. Okay? So this is not like this is something new that Ohio State has done. They beat Nebraska 62-3 last year. So this is nothing. So no one should be surprised at the outcome of last night.
Yeah. John said the coaches are coaching by politics. Kyron Williams with a black shirt last year is non-existent this year.
Maybe he's not consistent. See, here's what frustrates me more than anything when I hear comments like that. Are you at those practices? Are you in those meetings? Are you within outside those walls? That's why it's very rare that I'll comment about what this is what's going inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just comment from what I see.
Well, it's the same thing we talked about Exhibit. He was MVP of a game, a bowl game a year ago, and now he was non-existent for 6-7 games, and we didn't really have an idea what was going on. And I think he's right. And the fact is, where is these players? But you don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on in meetings. You don't know if he's hurt. You don't know this. You don't know that. That's why I'm not going to say these coaches are coaching politics because at the end of the day, they also know if they don't win games, they're going to be looking for a new job.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been coaches in today's culture of college football is going to coach with politics.
Well, Rebecca says, I agree. Politics in the mix. I'm not really sure what politics we're talking about because Riley's going to be out of a job if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
It's not politics. To me,
I think it's culture.
It's culture.
I really do. I think there's a.
I saw someone put on Facebook, Nebraska was down 21-0. He said, and he was down in the sideline saying, "Oh, Nebraska's down 21-0. Players over here laughing." That's the culture that we have down there now.
Yeah.
It's not affecting, and I think you said it's not affecting the players like it would have in the past. Why? Because it's the culture that we have. That's the culture that's there. You ask the Grant Wiston, the Jason Peters, you ask the Tyrone Williams or the Tony Velens that if Nebraska lost, were they laughing on the sideline? Were they ticked off? Did they go around after the game and party? No, they went home, ticked off. They back up their Sundays, watching film. What can I have done better? There was no laughing on our sideline when you're losing.
Well, even when you guys were down in a game, which didn't happen a lot. There still seemed like there was always a level of. I mean, I'm thinking back to I just remember the Miami game. There was always a level of, even when it was quiet, there was a level of intensity on everybody's face.
Right.
Like, there was focus.
Because there was passion. People wanting to do well for the state.
Yeah.
For Nebraska. The passion was there. I don't think these players truly understand the culture, the tradition. But it started 15 years ago.
Mark says, to the show, or join the show late, but hello from Rapid City, South Dakota.
Ooh, up by Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Tony said the team's very soft. Yep.
That's Captain Obvious there.
Joey says
not trying to poke fun.
No. You're right. He's right, but it is. Yeah. We've answered this one a million times, Joey. Should Bob be down on the sidelines on the field? I think that really comes down to, you said, just to recap real quick, you always say it depends if you have a trusted source on the field. And
Right.
They were laughing. Kevin says they were laughing on the sidelines last night. Yeah. That's. I don't even know how you start to rebuild that or how to reconstruct that culture. How do you change that mindset? Like, holy crap.
You change the players. If someone in your business is laughing when things aren't going well, ha, ha, ha.
That's a great example. Like
you get rid of them out of your company. You get
right
rid of the organization.
Yeah. I guarantee if somebody's laughing and you're down by 28 points, 35 points, whatever it is, and you're laughing and joking around the sideline, and Riley goes over there and sets the example right there and says, you are no longer on this team. You can take the jersey off and walk off the field. I guarantee that wouldn't happen again.
No.
But the fact they're allowing that stuff is part of it. So it does. I mean, there is a leadership problem there.
And on national TV, it's too much going on. Too many cameras to be laughing when you're down.
And there's a lot of people on that sideline outside of just the coaching staff that could be doing that. Like I forgot, strength and conditioning coach. That guy has a lot of passion. Like. There has to be someone on the sideline that is
holding these players accountable, keeping them focused on the big picture.
Yeah.
But there isn't.
I know when we go and play, my youngest son, my only son, plays flag football. And when he starts joking around, I stop him like, you watch your team. You recruit, when you're not in the game, you are rooting on your team.
Right.
You are focused on watching the other team. What are they doing? You're learning as you're sitting there.
Right.
And you're supporting. We're not broke down and picking flowers and laughing and joke. Like there's something
that it's culture.
Yeah,
it's culture.
There is. I would love to see a study to figure out how this ties to the whole Generation Y or
Trust
whatever.
Me, it all pans out to where it goes back to. I still remember when coaches used to take me in high school when we did somewhere. Coaches take it behind the woodshed and give and basically discipline us behind the wheelchair. Now, if you do it to a kid right now, you lose your job and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, or even parenting. If you curse at your kid, you're wrong. You're not supposed to talk to your kids that way. So it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Everything is generational. You're seeing football that way. Now look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban just doesn't care. He's going to coach the way he's been coaching all these years. Why? Because he knows it works.
Yeah.
And you either get on board or you're not going to be part of my program.
But you're not going to have the kids on the sideline laughing when they're down.
Not when you're down.
That ain't going to happen.
No. And I know that for a fact because I know many guys who coach for Nick Saban. That when he walks in the room, he says something's going to happen. You're gone.
Yep.
You're not going to have a chance to do this. A chance to do that.
Woo. Battery's low.
Yeah. So.
All right. So Brian says, good morning from West Virginia. Chris says, exactly. Douglas says, you can't teach heart. Yeah, Yep, Dave says Riley was smiling on TV last week. All right, there's a lot of the same things, and we are pushing the hour limit, and my battery is dying here.
Yeah, so, but people, I'll just say, just don't lose your faith in the program. The powers that be going to get it corrected. And it's not about who's going to be next head coach or what's going to be next head coach. You support the people who are there now, because I promise you, if Nebraska wins out, the whole demeanor is going to change about the head coach.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah.
So, but you're supporting the program because they can get rid of Mike Riley, they can get rid of this guy, they can get rid of that guy. The program's still going to be there. Support the program, not people. And that's what Nebraskans have always been built on. That's who are real family. And what's the good times or bad times, we all stick together. That's part of the fight song, right?
You're part of the fight song.
It's part of the fight song. Nebraska, live up to those words now. And I'm going to end it on that.
All right. So, for those that listen, thank you. If not, you can go back and watch the replay of this, or we will post the podcast version of this, which will have a little higher quality audio. Will come out later today. And, of course, you can follow us at touchdowntommy.com or Facebook/TouchdownTommy, Twitter /TouchdownTommy.
And all that kind of stuff. Just go out and search Touchdown Tommy, and you'll find them on either one of those social medias.
You will find them there. And then bye week next week?
Yeah, bye week. We'll come back and do something. It'll be a shorter version.
Yeah.
Maybe we might do a little something, start talking about a little leadership type stuff.
That'd be good, because we need that on the field. And there's lots of questions. I mean, so I'm sure there'll be plenty. I mean, we can go for another hour here, I'm sure, but unfortunately, we got things to do.
Yes, we do. We do have a life outside of this.
All right, guys.
Till next week.
Till next week.